Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Morning Musings. My name is Don K. Preston. I am the president of Preterist Research Institute. I've been sharing with you some of the things that led me to adopt the full preterist view of eschatology, and I really appreciate your kind remarks about my sharing of my thoughts. One of the viewers sent me a link to Hal Lindsey and his videos, and Mr. Lindsey is currently in a, for lack of better terminology, a full attack mode against what he calls the absolute horrific danger of the preterist movement, which he calls replacement theology. He says the idea that God is no longer dealing with Israel as a covenant people, that the land does not belong to them by divine right. Boy, he says that's just dangerous. He says the very fate of America rests on and relies on America's basically unconditional support of Israel no matter what. So I have promised to begin an examination and a response to some of the things that Mr. Lindsey is saying. You know, there's no question that the Abrahamic promise that Yahweh made to Abraham was in fact unconditional in some of its elements. Foundational to that Abrahamic promise, grossly misunderstood, in my opinion, by the dispensationalists, is the idea that God was going to give them that land forever, no matter what. Now, there are two elements to that, okay? Number one, was the reception of the land completely and totally unconditional? Was the retention of the land completely and totally unconditional? And what did God mean when he said, I'm going to give you the land forever? Okay? We will examine both of those aspects. First of all, make no doubt, God promised to give Abraham's descendants that property. Genesis 15:16 and following, it's just too clear about that. No one denies that. But you see, what is overlooked, or maybe denied, by Lindsey and the dispensational world, is that the actual possession of the land and the retention of the land by Abraham's descendants was always and ever conditional from that point forward. Here's a good example. Deuteronomy chapter 11. Now this is just one of many passages that could be cited and read. But notice that Moses specifically says to the children of Israel, you shall keep every commandment which I command you today, that you may be strong and go in and possess the land which you cross over to possess, and that you may prolong your days on the land which the Lord swore to give your fathers to them and their descendants, a land flowing with milk and honey. Now I want you to notice, Moses emphatically tells the children of Israel, you must keep the commandments which I give you this day. That's the law of Moses. In order that you may go in and possess the land. So, Moses himself said that the condition for the children of Israel to possess the land was their obedience to the law of Moses. Now, I want you to grasp the power of what I'm about to share with you. That is an absolutely fundamentally important fact. The law of Moses has been removed. You know, even dispensationalists agree that the law of Moses has been removed. Thomas Ice says that God removed and forever fulfilled the law of Moses in the first century. Okay, so God himself gave the condition for Israel of entering and possessing the land. We'll have more to say about it later. The condition for that was obedience to the law of Moses. But the law of Moses has been removed by God himself. Therefore, in God's scheme, he had fulfilled all of his promises to Israel and removed even that condition. And that does not mean that they no longer have to keep the law in order to possess the land. No, it means that the land promises were completely fulfilled as Yahweh intended, and now those promises were annulled. Now, in my book, I've written this book, Israel 1948, Countdown to Nowhere. I developed this concept extensively. I don't know of another work that has developed this concept quite as extensively as I do in this book. You just simply must grasp the point. God said, in order for Israel to possess the land, they have to keep the law of Moses. But God himself annulled is not a great word. He annulled the Mosaic covenant, to be sure. But before he annulled the Mosaic covenant, he had fulfilled all of the land promises exactly as promised. We'll talk about that in another segment. Get a copy of the book, Israel 1948, Countdown to Nowhere. It will completely refute and falsify all of Mr. Lindsey's claims. His claim that Israel still has a right to the land, that God is blessing them with the land, is based upon completely ignoring the conditions that God gave for Israel to possess and to continue to possess the land. We'll have much more to say about Mr. Lindsey and his claims. We'll see you on the flip side. Thanks for joining me for today's morning musings.